What do I do if I can't call you? What do I do if I need you and I can't get a hold of you?
A Battle High School parent shares her frustration about the school's new Wi-Fi rule.
And showers and thunderstorms have been rolling through today. What does Labor Day weekend look like? I'm tracking it.
Plus, tracking Hurricane Dorian as it inches closer to Florida.
And what has everyone talking about the Mizzou logo? This is KOMU-8 News at 10.
Coverage you can count on. KOMU-8 News starts now.
We watched the storms roll in earlier this evening. Here's a look back at those dark clouds as they've moved into mid-Missouri.
And then came the lightning. It looked like a 4th of July fireworks show.
A severe thunderstorm watch has now expired for mid-Missouri. Good evening, everyone. I'm Emily Spain.
And I'm Jim Reek. Thanks for joining us. Let's send it over to Kenton. And Kenton, we've got Friday Night Fever tomorrow night. How much longer is this stuff going to last?
Well, there's a chance you could still have some rain there tomorrow evening, Jim, unfortunately. But take a look at current live Doppler first alert radar. We still have some general showers here in mid-Missouri. A thunderstorm getting now just trying to get through the Lake of the Ozark region anyway into southern Camden County. Over here, Sedalia, still seeing some rain. Severe thunderstorms still up in northwestern Missouri. But if we look at this, and I want to show you, I'm going to kind of make the change the radar up a little bit, make it a little bit more susceptible. And you can see why they're going to the southwest, because it's not really that normal of a path, but it's this line right out in front of this storm. And if you look at it here, that's actually an outflow boundary. It's rain-cooled air, and that moves in front of the storm. And actually, a lot of times it'll be breezy before the storm gets there, and it'll be cooler air. And that's what's actually fueling the storms to follow it behind it, and it keeps it going. So it's an outflow boundary. That's why it's going that direction. Kind of cool. Now, for the rest of our night, some showers and thunderstorms still will be off and on, but really it's not until about tomorrow morning for the morning commute with more showers and thunderstorms there. And then they'll be off and on throughout our Friday. I'm tracking that plus the rest of Labor Day weekend for you coming up.
Okay, thanks, Kenton. Tonight, the mother of a child with autism is sharing her frustration with a new policy at Battle High School in Columbia. Wi-Fi is now turned off on personal devices during the school day. KOMU-8's Claire Bradshaw is here in the studio with the mom's concerns, plus what the district is saying.
Most parents I spoke to today said they agree cell phones shouldn't be in class. But one parent told me her son has a cell phone for a reason, and she feels his safety is at risk if he can't contact her.
I need to be able to contact my child at all times.
This is Jackie Carpenter. Jackie's son has autism. She struggles to stay in contact with him and blames it on the school's limits for cell phones.
My son is sent with a phone to school for the sole purpose of his reassurance that mom is just a phone call or text message away should he need.
CPS told me that a cell phone in school is a privilege.
It's even outlined in these handbooks that parents and students sign.
Well, phone calls have never been allowed. They're not. They're just not allowed. You shouldn't be calling your student in class. It's a privilege. It's a privilege to use your personal device when you're on our campuses. It's outlined that way in our board policy.
CPS says if parents need to contact their child to call the front office. But Jackie says she doesn't trust the school to connect her to her son immediately in an emergency.
At this point, I don't really know what to do other than to just let the voice be heard. You know, I'm sure I'm not the only one. I'm sure I'm not the only parent with the concern. I'm sure I'm not the only parent it's affected outside of the school.
If her child's needs can't be met, Jackie said she will have no choice but to homeschool him.
Bob Stark told me the district's made exceptions for cell phones for health and personal reasons, and that would have to be worked out on a case-by-case basis. That mom isn't satisfied with how the district's handled her son's situation. In the studio, I'm Claire Bradshaw, KOMU-8 News.
Our Facebook page is filled with comments about the rule. We got more than 500 comments on this story. Shannon says, my daughter is made to leave her phone at home. If there is an emergency and she needs to get a hold of me at school, she can go to the office. Alexis says they just need to be taught the appropriate times to use them throughout the day. As a soon-to-be educator, the first thing that popped into my mind was, what if there was an active shooter or a fire while they were out of my classroom? And David says usage and the limits should be debated by the school board and the students, and everyone should come up with the answers together.
There's another cyber attack to tell you about. Yesterday it was a realtor. Now it's a city government. Ashland is recovering from a cyber hack that locked all of its files. City staff are working to get the networks back online. The interim city administrator says he was concerned the city would not only lose its records, but residents' personal information too. Fortunately, hackers did not steal anything. They just blocked the city's access to it. Ashland is already preparing for another round of future hacks.
Once we get back restored 100%, we will have a pretty good conversation, not only with city staff here, but also a technology vendor, and figure out, what can we do to make sure this doesn't happen again. We know these, the people that attack and put these viruses in systems, it happens fairly frequently.
St. Romain says he anticipates all systems to be back and running by tonight or tomorrow.
This week, we found these panhandlers approaching drivers asking for money. Some online complained they were being aggressive. A pamphlet they gave out says they're a part of a group from Texas raising money for a nonprofit. The group is called Restoration Ministries out of Houston, Texas. We gave them a call to see why the group was up here.
And what we do is we get people off the streets from drugs and alcohol. We go from city to city. We are a traveling ministry.
We checked with Jefferson City and Columbia. Restoration Ministries did not have a permit in either city. The group did not return our calls when we tried to follow up.
Lorain County prosecutors charged 2 men with sodomy and rape. Derek Turnage is charged with sodomy or attempted sodomy. Gerald Walker is charged with statutory rape or attempted rape. In May, a 13-year-old girl was taken to the hospital and found to be pregnant. She told investigators Turnage was her boyfriend at the time and the father of her child. Jefferson City Police are looking for 4 people after a burglary at the Best Buy. One person is already detained. He's circled in the blue. Here's a look at the other 4. Officers say they ran in different directions. Police say they're not from the Jefferson City area. Anyone with information can contact police or Crime Stoppers. Boone County prosecutors filed charges against a Chicago teenager for a shooting last November. 17-year-old Knowledge Williams faces assault and armed criminal action charges. Court documents say 2 people were shot after someone fired a gun from a car on Ballinger Lane. 10 days afterwards, the shooting officers stopped Wilson during a traffic stop and found 3 guns. They were able to match casings with the Ballinger Lane shooting.
Here's what's happening right now. We are tracking Hurricane Dorian as it moves closer to the U.S. I'm joined here now with Chief Meteorologist Kenton Jewicki. And Kenton, over the past few days, this storm has really strengthened. Can you explain why?
Yeah, rapidly. And so this is currently where Dorian is, looking at water vapor here from our satellites. And a brand new update, by the way, it's now a Category 2 hurricane just in from the National Hurricane Center. And here are our water temperatures. So what's happening is Dorian is going into this very, very warm water of the ocean, a little bit warmer than where it was currently when it was going to go on this track. Now that it's going to take more of a curve, it's really going to get into this warm water. That's going to fuel this. One of the main ingredients of hurricanes need is warm water, and that's going to certainly get a lot of it.
Okay, so what's the latest track? Where are models saying and where are you guys forecasting it's going to head? Okay,
so again, it's a Category 2 now. It's going to be a Category 3 tomorrow or the next day, and then eventually a Category 4 potentially for multiple days before it hits before it hits Florida. And again, the latest track is that it's going somewhere either central or southern Florida to actually make landfall, and that landfall could be around Sunday evening into Monday. So again, a Labor Day hurricane is what we're talking about.
And a lot of people impacted here, a lot of folks preparing for the latest on that. We'll have a story now from NBC's Jay Gray.
Dorian's early calling card, violent winds and driving rains battering the Caribbean. And now the hurricane is churning in the warm Atlantic waters, intensifying. Forecasters warning it could be a Category 4 storm with winds over 130 miles an hour at landfall.
Of a major storm, a major hurricane coming our way sometime during Labor Day.
The current forecast cone covers the entire Florida peninsula, and so does a state of emergency extended today by Governor Ron DeSantis.
The time to act is now.
Millions in the path of the storm are stockpiling food and water, topping off fuel tanks, filling sandbags, gathering supplies.
From batteries, flashlights, generators, extension cords, anything that they can use that are going to give them the survival.
And testing generators to make sure they're ready.
Just worry about, just contaminated water, worried about the electricity. How long is the electricity going to go out if it goes out?
Concerns shared by millions in the storm's path right now.
You can kind of see that there's, any portion of Florida could take the brunt of a strike.
As Dorian takes aim at the Florida coast. Jay Gray, NBC News, Cocoa Beach.
Now take a look at this. 3 fierce women flying into the heart of the hurricane. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration shared this photo today. It's the first all-female 3-pilot hurricane hunting crew. As the storm barrels toward Florida, the president is canceling his trip to Poland. Trump was scheduled to depart for Warsaw on Saturday to commemorate the 80th anniversary of World War II. Vice President Mike Pence will go in Trump's place.
Mizzou's logo getting a lot of attention on social media. Do you see a face you've never seen before?
Plus, Alex Trebek has an update on his health coming up, what he's saying ahead of the 36th season of Jeopardy!
And your flight forecast for your Friday, not looking at many delays here, even with some showers and thunderstorms passing through tomorrow. Otherwise, 95 in Dallas. Full forecast looking ahead to Labor Day weekend coming up.
And you're taking a live look over downtown Columbia on this Thursday evening. KOMU 8 News at 10. We'll be right back.